Patrick, we keep talking to Dr. Scott Gottlieb, who says that colleges can't do what pro sports is able to do in terms of protecting players, and maybe they have an easier path back. Do you agree with that? That if college goes, it doesn't necessarily mean the NFL and MLB and NBA are out?
Well, Joe, I think he is right. I think the biggest issue is the bubble. When you have a bubble like Major League Soccer, like the NBA and the NHL are trying to do, the NHL's bubbles are in Edmonton and Toronto, respectively, it just does create more containment. One of my concerns, Joe, when I look at the college game is trusting young people to do the right thing. Here I am in Los Angeles. Daily, I'm going over to the track at UCLA, and I'm seeing 30, 40, 50 people running, doing the stairs, this, that, and the other, most of them not wearing masks. So you wonder, how is this going to play out with young people being on a college campus? I'd love for it to work, and I think the conference-only strategy is a smart way to go if you're going to try to do it. I just have my reservations that it's going to happen.
Jabari, do you think there's a big disconnect between college and pro? Should we just write off college? Because I do like college football and hoops a lot better than, just for me, in terms of my interests and DraftKings and everything else. College looks like it may not happen, right? I know we've talked about this, Jabari, I know, but I got to put off my...
I know how much of a supporter you are. I know how much supporter you are with the DraftKings and things like that. But you know what, though? Patrick is right. Listen, college has to be different from pros. Pros, their total, their proposition value to go down in these bubbles are much higher. Now, these college kids are not getting paid like the pros are. Remember, these are public institutions with government money. So the government are behind a lot of these institutions. And if we're having problems, as a society, dealing with COVID, you have to think that the government institutions that fund a lot of these public institutions that you see through NCAA tournaments, they're not going to allow these kids to go back when it's unsafe, because at that point they'll be opening up themselves to all types of possible lawsuits, from workers' comp type related issues to more. So you got to be very careful. I applaud the Ivy League for doing something that is very, very extremely hard to do. But again, the Ivy League does not have as much tied up in the football. It's easier to say they can cancel than the Power Five, who have millions and millions of dollars tied up into it. So it's not going to be an easy decision. But believe me, I understand by canceling what you're trying to avoid, and that's by helping kids survive for the future so they can be able to enjoy their careers.
Right. And they're young, and we know how, at least a little bit about COVID, and they're not quite as at risk. But losing anyone would be devastating to any of the decisions that were made. Right, Patrick? It's untenable to be able to move forward when, even if the risk is whatever it is, if it's less than 1%, you still can't do it.
That's right. And, it's amazing. Jabari just touched on it. You think of these professional athletes. You mentioned, Joe, Major League Soccer. We've seen two teams in the MLS's back tournament in Orlando have to pull out. In the women's tournament in Utah, one team had to pull out. And these are people getting paid. So they have financial incentive to be safe. So if you have student athletes that don't have that same financial incentive, they may be more lax with their behavior. One other thing on this topic, Joe, Stanford, just a couple days ago, they cut 11 of their 36 college sports. Now, prior to that, most of the sports that had been cut in college athletics had been from the group of 5 schools, which are the schools that don't generate as much money, schools from the MAC, from the Mountain West. But with Stanford's move the other day, that just brings to bear just how much financial pressure is on these schools. And if you don't have a college football season, all the more likely that many Power 5 schools who have already furloughed staff, cut salaries, and so forth, you're going to see some of them start cutting programs.